So, I'm going to discuss something that I had done many moons ago. So many moons ago. So, before my Palm Sunday 2000 head injury, well before that, and all that, I grew up, there are quite a few people who would be able to verify this, from New Jersey, but more so in Illinois, ironically. So, my biological parents, specifically Anna, my biological mother, had essentially made a rule that I was not allowed to watch any movie above G, like, until I was 13. When it was time that I turned 13, I wasn't allowed to watch just any PG-13 movie. It had to be, like, okayed. Then, that meant I also couldn't watch a rated R movie or anything like that until I could actually go. So there are a few people in Illinois who would know that. That would, like, specifically, that'd be Christina, be one from Cary Grove. Then there'd be Kenny. Kenny would know that. Kenny teased me about that because he worked at a movie theater. She was like, if you knew what, and I was like, not allowed to. There were multiple times. What about this? I don't know what that is. What is that? Is that a PG-13 and under movie? No. Oh my God. Susan. Okay. And so, because at a movie theater, I guess he got to see, like, all sorts of movies. Makes sense. So, makes a lot of sense, working at a movie theater to be able to see movies, really does. And so, after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, after getting out of medical hold, and after being married to my now dead ex-husband, while I was pregnant with my son, mind you, I was like, I wanna watch a movie. And my now dead ex-husband looks at me and goes, well, what do you want to see? And I was like, well, I want to see, a scary movie. I mean, I'm 18 now. Like, it took me that long to realize I was 18. And that was in 2001. I was like, I want to see a scary movie. And he goes, all right, whatever. We can go to some movie place. And I look up online, I'm like, oh, look, there's a Blockbuster. And go to Blockbuster. And so, go to Blockbuster, which was right around the corner. It was near the Peter Piper Pizza by the house. Already got a house there. Anyway, so walk into the Blockbuster and fill out the paperwork and stuff like that. And the guy behind the counter goes, are you really just now making a Blockbuster account? And I was like, yeah, it's my first time. And he was like, okay, so I filled out the paperwork, did the whole thing. And he goes, shouldn't you have already, you don't have, an account that, your parent, nope, not allowed to. So, I'll make one. And he goes, okay. And I was like, I guess, technically I have to put my now dead ex-husband on there. Fine. All right, do that. Now this was, again, back in 2001, and so, okay. Guy goes, well, behind the counter he goes, so, what type of movie are you looking at? You know, we have the different sections and stuff. I was like, I want to see a scary movie. And he looks at me and he goes, okay, the horror section is over there. And I'm like, how many scary movies do you have? And he looks at me and goes, what do you, you have a whole section. It's called the horror section. I was like, oh, okay. So that's what it's called. It's not called the scary movie section. And he looks at me, he's like, no, why would it be called the scary movie section? Because it's supposed to be scary. Yeah, I know. I sounded retarded. I don't. Yeah, I know. And so he asked me why I had to specifically see a scary movie, and he laughed. He did. I was like, oh, because the way I grew up, I wasn't allowed to watch this, and I wasn't allowed to go through the whole gambit. And he looks at me and goes, okay. I said, but I had a head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And he looks at me, he goes, you had a what? And so I explained the head injury and everything. We talked for like an hour and a half, pissing off my now dead ex-husband. Oh, he was so mad. He's like, it's like, I don't care. I will talk with whoever I feel like talking with. Thank you very much. And so, you know, being pregnant, no denying how pregnant I was. Like, I got bigger. And so, yes. And so, I said, towards the end of that discussion, I'm like, so which way is the scary movie section? He goes, oh my God, the horror section, oh my God, is, and he points to where it is. I'm like, okay. I wound up seeing him so many times afterwards. I mean, he worked there, of course, but like we would wind up talking a whole bunch. And so I go to the horror section, apparently not the scary movie section. It's kind of funny, as a real quick side note, that Idaho has H-O in it, and then horror has H-O, and then, you know, Medal of Honor. And if you really think about that, they don't earn the Medal of Honor, you know, in like fluffy situations. And so just throwing that out there. But anyway, so I damn near skip over there. So I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna watch a scary movie for the first time. Yay! Woo! I'm gonna watch a scary movie. Yay! And so I look around and I'm going through, I look at all the different ones. I'm like, And I mean, you know, picking them up and looking at them. And then I find The Exorcist. And there were 2 or 3 different versions. There was like the original version. And then there was like the anniversary version with the documentary. It's like, ooh. Like, I knew that there was truth behind that since I was a child. Let me see. So I read the back and I'm like, ooh, that sounds just right. Great. I definitely want to see this. And so, you know, it's the first time of having a TV with a VCR. That's again how far back. And so like, okay, I'll watch a scary movie. I'm gonna watch a scary movie. Like, I was so excited. Like, I mean, I was pregnant and skipping, and it didn't matter to me that I was pregnant and skipping because I was like, I'm gonna watch a scary movie. I'm gonna watch a scary movie. And so, talk with the same guy that I filled the paperwork out with, and the guy goes, "This is what you're gonna watch. This is what you're gonna watch for the first scary movie." Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right. And he was just like, "Oh, may I ask why this one?" And I was like, "Oh, because I've always known that certain things are absolutely true." And so I have technically been able to see a scary movie before now, but I haven't really allowed myself to see certain things because I know how real certain things are, especially when it comes to the spirit realm. So, since I decided I wanted to watch a scary movie, I want something that's actually going to scare me. So, this one has a documentary. None of the other ones do. I want to see this one. And he just kind of, what did you say your injury was? This was before I delivered my son, so obviously, before 9/11. And so I checked the movie out, and I'm all like, yay! I'm gonna watch a scary movie. I'm gonna watch a scary movie. My now dead ex-husband is looking at me like, why are you so excited? Oh, that's right, you. Sure, whatever. I mean, really, there's so many more scary movies than that. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I think this is like the creme de la creme. And he was like, yeah, whatever, you're weird. And I was like, yeah, I know. But I'm gonna watch it. So, get like some popcorn, put the VCR thing with the tape and stuff, set it up. I'm like, yay! Scary movie time, so excited. It's movie time. Well, watch the documentary part first. It's like, well, I have told people that there are certain things you shouldn't mess with because they're real. And if you don't know what you're doing, that can happen. Yep, that can happen. Oh, yep. Oh, that's all that happened? Well, I guess they were being nice. Just a warning. Okay. Oh, okay. As I'm, watching and listening, just, yeah, that can definitely. Oh, she only had a couple of ribs broken. I mean, better than all of them. Because they were going a lot harder, but at least they caught themselves. That's nice of them. Alright. Yeah, that definitely can happen. Yes, that can. Oh, that's what happened to. Oh, I am so excited to watch this movie. Oh, well, I guess they filmed it afterwards because this is the anniversary edition. So, huh? That whole thing. So then the movie actually starts. I'm like, ooh, scary movie time. Well, I didn't realize how freaking scary it really was going to be. That I don't deny. I got scared. I did. I got scared. I got so that I had to pause the movie, and I was like, I need to breathe. 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 You know, like, how do I breathe? Oh, like I was like, ooh, mm, mm, ooh, because like I could see certain parts where I was like, oh, they didn't see that spirit right there, now did they? Ooh, they didn't see that spirit right there, now did they? Ooh, and that was where it was mostly scary for me because I was like, ooh, those spirits are mad. Ooh, those spirits are mad. Ooh, they mad. Ooh, they mad. Ooh, and it was in portions of the movie that like were not discussed about in the documentary. So I was like, ooh, they bad. Ooh, they bad. Ooh, they mad. Ooh. And so there's this part where, you know, like the one that was like possessed or whatever, she starts like using a crucifix. And I was like, what? Excuse you? Excuse you? Excuse you? Uh-huh. Alright. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well then, ironically, I look around in the room and the bed that the female in the movie was in was exactly like the bed I was in. It's like the round balls on the four corners and stuff, and it's like, that's not cool. And there were already issues I had, like mainly with my now dead ex-husband, but it was just one of those, ooh. And so my now dead ex-husband is going back and forth, and he's laughing, and I'm like, yeah, no. Do you see any similarities at all? And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, how about the bed? And he was just like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, yeah, like same, 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 same. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. You're just weird. And I was like, yeah, I am. I don't deny that, but same, 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 headboard, same. Hello. Ugh, whatever. No. So then, at some point, I'm like, I'm hungry. And he goes, well, you know, you can go and make me a sandwich. And I'm like, no. Like, really? You're pregnant? You know, you think you can't? Oh, you can't even make me a fucking sandwich. Oh, okay. And so, you know, a few different issues. Obviously, you know, ex-husband for a reason, but dead ex-husband, I still don't feel sympathy for that. I was in a different part of the city, haven't seen him in 2 days, but I don't feel bad because he was a really bad person and barely even can call him that, realistically. I'll explain why. So, those who have seen the Exorcist movie do know that there are certain, like, unforgettable scenes. Well, one day, that week, I go to work at Chili's, come back to the apartment, walk around the apartment. Robert, no answer. Saw his car in the parking lot, no answer. And I'm maybe he's going and visiting Terry right now, whatever. Because Terry lived in the same apartment complex. And so I go do a few things in the kitchen, and then I make my way to the bedroom, which is where the computer was. And I go and sit on top of the bed. Well, the bed starts shaking. Whoa. You know what part of the scene I'm talking about? I get off of the bed because I'm like, oh, no, I knew that was real, I step on the ground, I take another step, something grabs my ankle from underneath the bed. And rightfully so, I freaked out. I went to run, but apparently my now dead ex-husband had grabbed my ankle while I was pregnant from underneath the bed after he shook it. And I fell on my stomach. So then I was like, okay, well, now we get to go to the emergency room. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Because, like, I started spotting. Like, it was instantly. It's like, okay, just to be on the safe side. Well, went to the emergency room. Had to say I tripped and fell because he wouldn't leave the room. I was like, all right, fine. And so, you know, they cleared me. Everything was fine. James still had a heartbeat. Good, okay, no problems. All right, awesome. I was doing everything I could energetically and stuff like that. It's like, ugh. So, I was already sleeping with the lights on because I was that scared. I don't care that I was 18 years old. I was that scared. I slept with the lights on for a month. For a month, I was that scared. And so, I don't, no. It drove him up the wall. He was so mad. And I was like, I don't really care. Like, no. I know I wanted to watch the movie. I'm not falling asleep without the lights on. I don't care. Nope. I don't care. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Nope. Nope. Gonna keep the lights on. Yup. And I did. I had multiple conversations. I kept those lights on because, So, you know. While having a bout of an insomnia during that month, all right, well, I guess I'll watch some TV. And so, turn the TV on and watching, I don't know, something like, I don't know what it was, but I just started, you know, watching and listening. And there was this thing where this little girl had her hands on the TV. And she went, they're here. I was like, you have no idea. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. That's gonna suck. But yeah, they are. Yeah, they're here. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, but yes, in a different reference, because I didn't see what the name of the movie was. I was like, yeah. I don't know what you're referencing, but if it's what I think you're referencing, yes, they are. Yes, they are. And then there was this other time when I was watching another movie or whatever, or it could have been the same one, I don't know, whatever. And like, there was this female that was older, and she had landed, and there were like a bunch of bones, and I was like, ooh, that guy's mad. That's not fake. That's real. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. I don't think that they expected that. Nope, I don't think so. But ooh, that. Whew. So, you know, in reference to my Medal of Honor art project, I knew how to do that correctly. I did. I did not teach anybody how to do that correctly, because I didn't teach anybody how to do it, period. And so, And so, yeah, like when I did the project, I knew what I was doing. When I took the pieces to McClendon's, I knew how to transport them. When I picked up the pieces from the Medal of Honor art project, I knew what to do to make sure there wouldn't be any issues. So long as, the wood wasn't opened. I mean, there was only a certain way to do that, and that had to be done by someone who was approved by where I dropped it off. So it could only be done by either the family members of the particular Medal of Honor recipient because they wanted to change out the wood, or it had to be someone that was approved by the American Legion, the Disabled American Veterans, the Military Museum, or the Veterans of Foreign Wars, if they were going to change out the wood. But the glass would never be moved. Like, it would never be opened, because if the glass part was opened, then that's where the problems would arise. Especially, pun intended, but especially if it was not one of those particular groups. So, like, hypothetically speaking, because of what happened in Montana in reference to, that traffic issue. And there were those who had opened up the glass to sign where they had no right to, or to cause problems and stuff like that. I cannot tell a lie. And so, yeah. Sucks for you, cherubim. Yes, it does. But for another quick little example, there are a few locations where I was like, for fun, I'm gonna go, to cemeteries to do the rubbings of the markers of the Medal of Honor recipients. Because, it's special and know how to do it correctly. We'll reiterate that one in Portland where that female was walking around. I don't think so. I'm not gonna get out of my car. Not worth. It's my, that I know what I got. But I'm not getting out of my car. No. No. No, thank you. Nope. Nope. And then the irony of ironies as far as Idaho is concerned. So, going from Idaho to Oregon to get this one Medal of Honor recipient, I think his name was John Holcomb Noble. And these random spots in the drive were these miles and miles and miles of these huge bugs. Huge. I mean, they were like 5.5 to 6 inches long and about 2.5 inches wide, all black and just ew. And they were just covering the road. I was like, you couldn't see them in the grass. Could not see them in the grass at all. But there was a line of them, and it was just, ew, 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 ew. And I could feel when I would drive over the bugs. Ew, ew. I admit, I'll be a girly girl because ew, bugs, I don't like bugs. Ew. And so the car would actually raise. Like the tires, you could feel like going over a bump, like a speed bump. The car would raise so the point of view would change. I was like, ew, ew, ew. And then the ones that didn't squish, because apparently the car wasn't heavy enough to kill them. ew. Ew. Just ew. Ew. They would like bounce off of the car tire and the tire well, and it sounded like these huge rocks, and it's like ew, 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 ew. And I don't care if there was like security cameras in there that would have captured ew, 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 gross, ew. Like just no, no, it's not okay. Ew, 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 gross, ew, ew. That's where I got all girly, just ew. Ew, gross. And I know I'm not the only female, and I know there are males who are just, but just ew, ew, bugs, ew, ew. And then on top of which, the car floorboard was hot. Oh, it was so hot. So I was like, ew, 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 ow, 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 ew, because it was burning my feet. And it's like, ow, ow, ew, ew, ow, ew, ow. But yeah. So like for those like cherubim ones that want to like think stupidly that it was okay and no big deal to mess with my Medal of Honor art project. And realistically, one of the only ways that those cherubim ones would be able to partially make things better is whatever they did with my Medal of Honor art project, they would have to get all of the pieces and take them back to the original locations I dropped them off at. So if they, hypothetically, stole those pieces, and whether or not they had signed them, it doesn't matter at that point. The only partial way is that they would get the original pieces back, take them back to where I dropped them off. They would know where that would be, and they'd have to leave a letter saying that, you know, they stole those, and, you know, I'm the original artist of it, if they had signed it at all. And that is the only way they could partially redeem themselves. And I wouldn't have to do anything with that because that is all on them for what they did. If they chose to do a ritual and or destroy my Medal of Honor art pieces, then there's no hope for them. The only thing that they could attempt to do is write a letter to the individual locations of the ones that they took and say that they took them from those locations. And then what they did with them. That's it. That's the only way that they could get any redeeming qualities for what they had done. And as far as the ones that they prevented me from getting and or changing the commendations online because I didn't know about the hacking stuff, they would have to essentially write a letter to the places that the individual Medal of Honor recipients are from, and let meaning their markers, and, you know, like whether it's to the senators, to the governors, to the Congress, to the, you know, to the elected officials of the different cities as well as state, and be like, so this is what, you know, did, and then send it off. Because that's the only way to get any redeeming, like, whatever. I mean, obviously they won't do it to my face. They won't acknowledge that. They won't message me and tell me that. So, because I know that they won't, because I've made the offer, then, you know, they can do it to the ones to the different states. Not that they don't know. Not that the individual states and law enforcement and elected officials don't know. I mean, my Medal of Honor art project, Medal of Honor, the tippity top award for every branch of the United States of America's Armed Forces. So yeah, like, duh. So yeah, And then, if they want to like get extra credit points, they could contact, who was president at the time and vice president at the time and be like, because I started my Medal of Honor art project in 2014. So up until the election of 2015, they'd have to contact then President Obama and Vice President Biden if they wanted extra credit points. And then they'd have to contact, if it was from 2000, technically 2016, but 2017 to 2018, they'd have to contact current President of the United States of America and Vice President Donald Trump and Mike Pence. But if they wanted like some extra credit points, then they could contact the House of Congress and House of Senate. Because, obviously if there was the hacking stuff, which apparently there was, writing a letter and being like, they didn't. Because I'm not taking credit for something that I didn't do. So yeah, although it would be better for them for that extra credit if they were to write to the individual representatives of each state. Each of the individual representatives of the House of Congress for each state, and each of the individual Senate of each state. If they really, really want that extra credit. Otherwise, I'm still not going to divorce them from my dead ex-husband. I'm not doing the spiritual divorce. Not at all. Not going to do it. At all. Whatsoever. Not gonna allow them that gratification. But if they want some redemption, then there's some suggestions. But if they want extra credit, then they can contact the different branches. Not just the places that they, took the stuff from and stuff like that. But if the Medal of, and list them out for the ones that, were taken. You contact the Army branch for all the Army ones, the Air Force branch for all the Air Force ones, the Coast Guard branch. I don't know if there were any Coast Guard ones, but just in case. What they could do for that, if there's no Coast Guard ones, they could write all the ones from the Navy and the Marine Corps to the Coast Guard ones, and then to the Marine Corps branch, and then to the Navy branch. That would be, what they could do. But I don't think they'll do that. I don't think those cherubim ones have the balls to do that. I don't think so. Nope. I really don't. I don't think so. I think that they'd be little pansies and whiny little babies about it and wouldn't do it. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong. I don't think so, though.